Hi, I'm Nick and welcome to the Rig and Farm YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to react to one of our videos from over a year and a half ago, before we even moved to our farm. It's currently a wet and nasty December morning. I've already done my morning chores and I'm not really feeling that well. My wife Ashley was working all night at the hospital and didn't even get home until about 10 this morning. The video of ours that I'm going to be watching was posted on April 23rd of 2021. We put in the offer for our land in April of 2020, got our trees taken down in November, December of 2020, and didn't actually move into our farm until October of 2021. This video actually takes place about 6 months before we moved to the farm, but we were still driving 53 miles each way, a couple times a week to work on our property. This video is titled, Cleaning Debris on a Hill and Deciding What to Do with the Chickens. Alright, let's go ahead and watch this thing. The intro is a little bit different than it is now.
Hey, welcome to the Rig and Farm YouTube channel. I'm back up at the property. Yesterday I did a bunch of work with the grapple, and I'm here to try to finish up that job. My main goal...
So there's our old tractor. If you haven't watched how I totaled that one and almost lost my life, you definitely need to check out that video.
Today is to finish cleaning up all of the logs, branches, and other debris from the hill that starts at the front of the property and goes up to our garden. I should be able to get that done within a few hours. I also need to put the box blade on and try to smooth out that area so we can have it ready to plant some of our perennials.
I still have that Kubota hat, and it is definitely super sweaty now. As you can see, I'm wearing earrings in that video. I decided several months ago to take them out, let my holes shrink up a little bit. I don't know that they're ever going to go away.
Yesterday when I was up here, I was going up to the area where we're planning on putting our chickens and try to clean up that area. There was a lot of debris that needs to be cleaned up. We also need to box blade that area because it's very bumpy, and if we're going to be pulling the tractor or anything else up there, we need it to be a little smoother. Last night I was telling Ashley what all I had gotten done at the property, and then I started to think to myself, what if we put the chickens somewhere else that's a little more accessible and will require less work? The first idea I had is to actually put them right over here by the front of the property.
Spoiler alert, that's what we ended up doing. Another thing I noticed is, in this video I was using my phone to record the video, and I was using a little external microphone that I had clipped onto my shirt. And that worked pretty well for several videos. I can't remember if this one will display it or not, but we had a lot of issues where it'd be extremely staticky and the audio was almost unusable, but we used it anyway. And ended up having to return that mic because it was just complete garbage. Now for most of our videos, we're actually using our GoPro Hero 9 with a media mod on it that has an external microphone that's really good quality.
A bit of a clearing. I'm going to go over there in just a moment and check it out. It'll be so much easier to get them set up there than if we were to take them all the way up that hill where it's kind of hard to get to right now. The Cooper building, we could probably actually pick it up with the tractor or the forklift and move it to another area if we ever need to down the road. All of the cleanup I did yesterday won't be done in vain because we can still put our pigs over there when we get those shortly after we move here. The infrastructure for the pigs will be a lot easier than the chickens because the pigs can be contained in just a small fence that has 2 electrical wires run across it because they're actually pretty smart and will stay away from that electric wire once they realize what it does.
Well, a couple of our pigs are smart and realize that. Actually, this morning I had to chase 3 of them back into the fencing because they don't mind getting shocked if they feel like they need to leave the fencing to eat something outside of the fence.
Hit it. The chickens, on the other hand, need a much more robust fencing system because they're more susceptible to predator attacks, and they also really like to escape, so we need to have a fence that's at least 6 or 7 feet high so that they don't escape, and it'll be a lot easier to do that in this more flat open area than in that heavily wooded and hilly area.
And that's definitely true, because when we only had 4 feet of fencing, they would fly over all the time, got into our garden, ate all of our strawberries, and now their fence is 7 feet high, and we don't have any escapes.
Alright, let's go take a look and see what we think. We have enough fencing for the chickens to have about 2/3 of an acre of space.
With that said, it worked out to be more of like 1/4 an acre to 1/3 of an acre because we just didn't have as much space as we thought we did. We had the fencing, but there wasn't the space for the fencing.
And this area over here is definitely wide open. There's definitely some branches and debris and everything over there that'll have to get cleaned up before we do that. But the chickens aren't really going to be so worried about the landscaping, if there are tree stumps or anything else they'll be perfectly fine with that. We didn't have any definitive plans with this area before contemplating whether or not to put the chickens here. We talked about maybe doing some garden space here, but honestly, once we get that other area cleaned up, we'll have several acres of garden space, and that's probably all we're going to need. Worst case scenario, this area is going to be super fertile with all the chicken poo that accumulates over the years, so we can always move them somewhere else and then plant a garden here.
Notice what the land looks like in this video. About a year ago, we rented some equipment and did a lot of stump removal and grading before we put up all of our chicken fencing. At the end of this video, I'll make sure to show you what it looks like now.
Won't be a big deal. One idea that we had with the chicken fencing that'll help add some stability is using existing trees as fence posts. We have some really mature pines right here along the border of our property that could be excellent fence posts that won't be going anywhere anytime soon. We'll definitely have to supplement with some T-posts. We've been talking about either renting or buying an auger, and we would drill 2 to 3 foot deep holes.
Well, our cat Ori decided to jump into my lap and watch the video with me.
Inches in diameter, 10, 12 feet tall, and burying those in the ground and using those as fence posts as well. They would probably be more sturdy than T-posts, but the cost of the T-post would probably be less than the cost of renting or buying an auger.
Yeah, we ended up using just T-posts and no trees that we cut down. That was going to be a lot of work, and the T-posts worked just fine.
Definitely something to consider. There are quite a few smaller trees in this area, which is good because it'll provide the chickens with a little bit of shade, and it'll also give them some protection against aerial predators. Hawks absolutely love eating chickens, and they typically swoop in to get their prey. And if there are a lot of trees and other things in the way, they're less likely to do that. We're also planning on putting in some aerial protection anyway, probably in the form of some fishing line or something similar. We're going to tie it across the trees and make almost like a web pattern.
We didn't do that, and we have not had any issues with aerial predators with the exception of owls that only come at night, and that's only been when chickens refuse to get into the coop at night.
About maybe 8 feet high, 7 feet high, depending on how things go. At least tall enough to where I'm not going to hit my head on it. And that'll prevent anything from trying to get in, and it'll get tangled and deter it, and hopefully it'll work. If we can get some line that's kind of reflective in the light, that'll actually help deter aerial predators. I think this will work. I really do. Like I said, there's quite a bit of cleanup that'll be necessary. The reason for cleaning up this area wouldn't be for the chicken's sake, it would actually be for ours. Because we want to be able to easily see the chickens. If they decide to lay eggs outside of the nest, it'll be pretty hard for us to find them amongst all this debris and branches and everything. Really, the only bad thing about having the chickens right here is that they'd be really close to the front of the property. And we're not sure we want that to be the first thing you see when you pull into our driveway.
Well, that is the first thing you see when you pull in past the gate.
It would be past the entrance gate, so it's not like people driving by are necessarily going to see them, but anybody who comes to visit definitely will. Comment below and let us know what you think. Do you think we should put our chickens in the front of the property where it's going to be easier to build their fence and a little bit closer to the home to where we can access them? Let us know below in the comments what you think. Should we put our chickens here in the front of the property where it'll be a lot easier to get them set up, but they'll be closer to the entrance of the property and one of the first things you see while pulling up to the house? Or do you think we should have them in the back where we had originally planned, where it's going to be much more difficult to get them set up, but they're a little more secluded? Something you may not be able to tell so easily from our videos.
A little side note, we actually put our pigs where we initially wanted to put our chickens, and they're doing really well out there, with the exception of the occasional escape, but they absolutely are great with that kind of terrain, and it doesn't bother them at all, and it was pretty easy to get the fencing up.
But the chickens here or in the original spot would be about the same distance from the road and about the same distance from our house. If anything, it'll be a lot easier for us if they're in the front of the property because we won't have to go up that hill. The more I think about it, the more I think we should put them up here. Let us know what you think.
That's what we
I'll
did.
get some drone footage of both potential areas. That way, not only will we get a chance to see and kind of contemplate and figure out what we want to do, but you can also have a better idea and give a more informed decision yourself.
You can see that our home isn't there. You can see the foundation that they put down, the little footer blocks. Here, we'll watch again. Yep. Yeah, the pigs have about 2 acres in this area right now.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get on the tractor and start cleaning up that hill now. Sure do love the morning dew that gets my pants soaked.
The little LX 2610. It was helpful until I totaled it. Our new MX 5400 is way better. It's more stable, has a much better lift capacity. Oh, nice. It's buffering right now because we live in the middle of nowhere and our internet connection is pretty crappy. We actually did a video recently on our internet and how it's better now than it was previously, but as you can see, it's still not perfect while I try to stream this video in 1080p. Alright, let's continue and see if it'll actually play. Nope. Okay, let's bump it down to 720. Should have done that to begin with.
While I was near, I decided to take a break and check on the bees. I'm not seeing any kind of activity.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, while this is buffering, I'll talk about the bees. So this was our first attempt of 3 with bees. We built this hive, set it up in our garden area. We weren't living at the property yet, so we put some little bit of electric fence around it to keep potential bears from getting in there and destroying the hive and trying to get to the honey and everything. And I guess it was kind of unnecessary because other than our trail camera when we first bought the property, we haven't seen any bears. Unfortunately, the bees just left. They absconded the hive and never came back. We got a second batch of bees. Same thing happened. Tried a year later while living on the property, and they stayed for about a week before they left. So we've talked a lot about what we're going to do with our bees in the future, because we do want to try them again, because they're obviously really great pollinators, which is necessary for all the plants and everything we're going to be growing on the farm. So hopefully our next batch of bees, whenever that happens to be, will be much more successful. So make sure you subscribe if you don't already and see how that goes. Alright, looks like it's loaded quite a bit more. Let's play again.
I am very tempted to open it up and look, but you're not supposed to for at least a week. I still have about 3 days to go. Hope they're okay. So I took the ballast box off because I don't think I really need it. I swapped it out for the box blade so I can start cleaning up and smoothing some of the ground over here. I still have the grapple on, so if there's anything I need to pick up with it, it's already attached. The really great thing about this quick hitch system is I was able to take off the ballast box and get the box blade on without ever getting off of the tractor.
So the quick hitch is pretty cool, but unfortunately it's not compatible with our MX 5400, so it's just kind of hanging out by the shipping container right now. I've actually taken pictures of it and meant to post an ad on Craigslist to try to sell it, and just haven't gotten around to it yet because we've been busy with so many other things that it's completely slipped my mind until I started watching this video. So I guess if anything good comes out of making this video, it's that I will remember to make an ad to sell that quick hitch that doesn't work on our new tractor. It worked just fine on the old one.
It took me less than 5 minutes to remove and add the implements. It was great. Great purchase. Anyway, I need to get to work and get this place cleaned up. Got my debris pile right here in a nice smooth area. Having this area smooth is actually going to be pretty nice because we can set up a little canopy and picnic area so that we can have the kids up here while we're working on the garden, and they'll be really close to us, at least for the next couple months before our house is ready and we're actually living here and they can just stay inside in the AC and not have to worry about being out here with us on the weekends.
Yeah, so Our garden area is still there. That area that I cleaned up a little bit is still pretty cleaned up, and that pile that I created has actually started to decompose a little bit and is now where we put all of our compost, the vegetable scraps and everything that don't get fed to the pigs. So things that have gotten moldy or whatever that's just not meant for human consumption, we don't want to feed to our animals either. That IBC tote of water there was intended to water our garden while we didn't have our well drilled yet, and it served its purpose for a little while, but it did eventually run out and we didn't have a way to fill it up. So yeah, that's such a disaster. And that exact tote is actually in with our pigs right now and is used as their main water source for them to drink. Alright, let's continue. There's only a little bit left. Yes, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't already. Well, too late, we've already done it. It's true, we do value your input, and we actually respond to pretty much every comment that's made on our videos. Hey, there are our 2 most recent videos. For those of you who don't know, we got a solar system installed on our house, and it's not been going especially well. I actually have a conference call scheduled with both the solar company and our electric company because they're both pointing their fingers at the other on why my system doesn't work properly. So we are going to hopefully get that resolved today, or at least figure out what's going on so they can resolve it soon. So make sure you follow along and find out how that goes. Also shows a video about our rodent problem on the farm and how we pretty much have gotten rid of the issues that are causing damage. So if you haven't watched that one already, definitely check that out too. The end of our videos now, instead of being padded with 20 to 30 seconds of video, they're about 6 to 7 seconds, and they will show you our most recent upload as well as a suggested video for you. Short and sweet. Watching this old video actually makes me feel a little bit better about how much we've accomplished over the last couple of years. We actually had a FedEx driver come by yesterday to drop off a package, and she was like, "Wow, you guys have done so much with your property since you moved in." And it really doesn't feel like it, but at least other people that come in not too often see the progress, and it makes us feel a little bit better. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it was at least mildly entertaining. I know I got a lot out of it, so hopefully you did too. I'm going to go ahead and play some video for you now that shows what our chicken area looks like now after we have done all of the work over the last year and a half to make it the way it is. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's a pretty wet and nasty day here, so I apologize that it doesn't look all green and luscious because it's just not that time of year. The birds don't seem to mind too much. We currently have a hose connected right here that comes in that we use to fill up the water, and it's not ideal, but it is what it is right now. We have a duck pond there, a big water barrel, little water, nesting boxes, although if we look inside the coop, there are probably eggs in there. Oh, yeah, there's a bird sitting on some eggs in the coop. Oh, Fantana, you silly little bird. We also have all of our rabbits in here, so they're protected from predators. Our dog is also in here. Up until recently, we had her have full access of this whole area to protect the birds, but then she decided that she wanted to murder all of our ducks but one. Yeah, so unfortunately we're down to one duck now, and we put up some more field fencing, actually just yesterday, to keep her contained so she's not chained up. She has a little bit of room, and we let her out to roam the rest of the property when we're outside doing stuff. Most murderers don't have this much space, so she should feel okay about the decision we made. Starting a farm completely from scratch with not an endless supply of funds is pretty difficult. We have certainly not gotten done as much as we would have liked in the last couple of years, But when you're on a budget and barely able to pay your bills, you do what you can. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.